Buddy, this is Pastor Nick. I am so sorry that I forgot to change the title. Today is Wisdom Wednesday. Last week we talked on Wisdom Wednesday about beyond the book, right? True godly wisdom. So last week we talked about how wisdom and godly wisdom is more than just book learning. It's more than just being smart. It's more than education. It's a deeper understanding of God. Today I want to talk about the believer and the power of godly wisdom. The believer and the power of godly wisdom. Let me just give everybody a shout out real quick. I want to give a shout out to my spiritual son, David. He's got me drinking fizzy water. So I used to have a Coca-Cola fetish. You know, I liked Coca-Cola. I was drinking 6 or 7 or 8. Let me give y'all some wisdom real quick. I was drinking 6 or 7 or 8 Diet Cokes a day. I started to notice I was getting some tingling in my arms and just tingling everywhere because I'm diabetic, right? And about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks, I stopped drinking all diet sodas. I stopped using all sweeteners, all of that stuff. Gave it all up. And David gave me a little bit of wisdom at our holiday party to take sparkling water, and you could put lemon in it. You could put oranges in it. You could put lime in it, and it makes almost like a soda. So it's been really, really a great replacement. So just, again, we're talking about wisdom today, right? Just hearing, and that's my son in the ministry, right? Giving me some wisdom because he's working on some stuff himself. So it just goes to show you, when you have ears to hear and you start listening and you listen, God will speak to you. God will send people. People will speak to your hearts, and they will also share with you wisdom. Amen. So good morning. Let me give some shout outs. Good morning, Jerry. Jen, good morning. Cynthia, good morning. Toya, good morning. Amanda, good morning. Joan, good morning. Ray, good morning. Candace, good morning. Jennifer, good morning. Gomez. Michael, good morning. Ms. Donzi, good morning. Keisha, good morning. Mark, good morning. Shanika, good morning. Keita, great to see you again. Good morning. Carmen, good morning. Harry, good morning. Paula, good morning. So let's get going. Let's start talking about wisdom today. Again, today, we're not talking about the children. I forgot to change the title if you're getting on late. The title of today's message is The Believer and the Power of Godly Wisdom. So as we talk about wisdom today, and we talk about godly wisdom, we need to understand the significance in which wisdom and operating in godly wisdom, hearing from God, submitting to God, right? We need to understand the significance that wisdom and godly wisdom will contribute to our lives. We need to understand. We need to understand, let's take honor. I was talking to a great man of God the other day about honor, about how God talks about honor, how godly honor works in the Bible, right? Just going in and understanding how godly honor works and then beginning to try to operate in it. That's wisdom, right? Because what are you doing? You're operating in a system that's outside of what you always operated in, because what you always operated in has produced the results in your life that you currently have. Wisdom says if you want a different result, you're going to have to operate in a different system. That's so good, y'all. It went right over your head. How many of you know if you have a program on your computer and you want to run that program, different programs require different operating systems. Different programs require different resources. See, some people never exceed in life, never achieve in life beyond their lid. beyond what they can see, because they don't ever tap into the supernatural. They're never willing to approach a job any other way than the only way they've ever known it. They've got no faith. They got no belief to approach anything in life any other way than they've always believed it. That's why one thing I love about when I met my pastor and I made a decision to commit to God, everything about my life changed. God became number one in my life. And guess what? I share this with people all the time because they don't believe it. When I made the decision to go all in with my man of God, believing God, trusting God, after I went all in, and I was all in, I'm talking about fully committed. I'm talking about faithful. I'm talking about, like, for instance, when my pastor told me, give up my business, close my business, and go to work at a company, take a 70% pay cut, have to reduce all my living expenses, just so I could have more time to be at the church, because that was what was important. Sounded kind of selfish at the time. Maybe he's trying to get me to do something to help him. Is that really helping me? It doesn't look like it's helping me. But guess what? I made the decision. If my man of God says it, I believe that's God speaking to me. I'm going to honor him as I honor God, and God will reward me. But here's the thing, here's the part of that whole story people don't know. 7 years after that, my wife and I lost our house in foreclosure. It was 7, 8, 9 years before our finances and before things really started to get on track. See, people don't hear that part of it. People see where my wife and I are now, but they don't realize, man, only the last 10 years, 15 years, even when we got to Orlando, my wife reminds me that we all lived in a little townhouse when we first got to Orlando. We weren't broke, but we didn't have no money. 10 years, God has brought that increase into our life after almost 15 years of faithfulness, right? So wisdom and godly wisdom is going to cause you, number one, first and foremost, to make better decisions. Godly wisdom will provide us with the framework that we need to make choices, watch this, to make decisions that align with moral and ethical values that God has. Right? This type of wisdom is what encourages individuals, watch this, to consider the long-term implications of the decisions that they're making. See, the problem with people of God is we make all our decisions in a vacuum. We make all our decisions looking at our current situation and our current circumstance. We get so focused on what is the personal benefit and the personal gain. We don't look at the long term and how is it going to benefit me and my family. There's a story in the Bible when King David in Samuel 25, if you want to read it, when King David was going to war and he had asked Nabal's people to feed his soldiers, and they refused to provide provision to his men. Food, water, things. And this angered King David. He was mad. But Nabal's wife, I think her name is Abigail, is how you would say it, Abigail. She intervened. How you say it, honey? Abigail. No, it's Abigail or something like that. Anyway, y'all know those old Bible names. But she intervened with wisdom. She intervened with diplomacy, right? She met with David. She brought David gifts. She talked to David about the result of him, going to war against her husband, right? She asked him to refrain from bloodshed. Watch this. Then David, through this conversation, you think that she's begging, for him not to kill her husband. But through this conversation, David recognizes that she has divine guidance. David recognizes that her advice is godly advice. And what she was telling him averted him from acting out in the flesh. David realized this, that it caused him not, when Pastor Poe used to give me counsel about things to do, my flesh wanted to do certain things. But when I went to pastor, and it used to always seem like he was always getting on me. But he wasn't getting on me. I was just out of line with how God thinks. And it's his job to tell me how God thinks, because he's hearing from God. And he would always readjust. Well, why don't you go do it this way? Somebody make me mad. He'd say, write him a thank you card. What? He was always thinking ahead. He was always thinking in godly wisdom. So we see, number one, Nabal was insulted by David for what he did. But his wife's intervention calmed him down, kept him from getting killed. But the greater part was David recognized the wisdom in Nabal's wife's words, and seeing this as he sees this as a sign from God. So what it does is it helps him make better decisions. So one of the key things that godly wisdom, the power of godly wisdom in a believer, is it's going to lead you to better decision making. Number two, it's going to improve relationships, and it's going to improve your influence. One of the things that should be happening when you begin to operate in wisdom, I'm really watching my leadership team in my church for this right now, right? Because godly wisdom emphasizes kindness, patience, humility, empathy. And in my leaders, I'm starting to watch this in my leaders. If my leaders can't demonstrate kindness, patience, humility, and empathy for one another, there's a problem there. There's a problem. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them, folks. It doesn't mean you get rid of them, but you got to encourage them. It's a sign that their relationship with God isn't where it needs to be. And we all get off the track every now and then, right? But you need to understand that traits like kindness, patience, humility, empathy, these traits can greatly improve, right, your skills, your interpersonal relational skills with people, both in life and in the workplace. And we also need to understand that great relationships are the cornerstone of success, right? As we have the ability to better collaborate, to better, communicate, to build better community within our families, within our homes, within our jobs, within our work environments, it's going to allow us to build a great foundation of people that are in our lives. And these virtues will actually enhance your ability to speak into people's lives. It will enhance your influence with people. And at the end of the day, remember, everything that we're called to do is to allow our light to shine on others, to allow our wisdom and what God's doing in our lives, the success we're having, to spill over onto people. And you need to realize when you're operating in kindness and patience and humility and empathy, it will allow people to trust you more. And as people begin to trust you more, they will then begin to respect the call of God on your life. When people don't honor and respect the call of God on your life, folks, it's not a problem with them. That's a problem with you. Let me say that again. When people don't honor and respect the call of God on your life, that's not a problem with the people. That's a problem with you. So, number one, what did we talk about? Better decision making. That's what godly wisdom is going to do for you. Number two, improve relationships and what? Influence, right? Number three for today, it's going to bring you inner peace that's going to drive you to be able to not quit. It's going to bring you inner peace that's going to allow you to resist the enemy. It's going to bring you inner peace that's going to allow you to be okay while you're in development, while you're getting better. You don't beat yourself up because you sinned last night or you missed the mark. You're going to say, you know what? I might have missed the mark, but I am trusting God. I am believing God. I'm going to have that bulldog faith, right? This type of wisdom, when you begin to have inner peace through the wisdom of God, it will provide an inner peace. Watch this, and it will help to begin accentuating your purpose. We've been talking about purpose in church. That's what we're talking about tonight. And then that will align with your individual actions, beliefs, and values, right? Your actions, your beliefs, and your values. And as you begin to get into alignment with God's plan for your life, with God's path for your life, again, that peace in you begins to build. And that peace is what gives you the I will not quit attitude. It's the peace of God in you that will build, that will develop, and that will give you the I will not quit attitude. Say it with me. I will not quit. Therefore, I cannot be defeated. Listen, I hope this has helped you today. I hope you've gotten some wisdom out of it today. Even if you just took one point and you can apply it to your life to get better results, that's all I'm praying for. Listen, I love you. Tonight's church, man, get to church tonight. Tonight, we're going to have some Q&A stuff around our purpose. We're going to talk more about godly wisdom and how it affects our purpose. It's going to be a great time. I'll see you then. Until then, Pastor Nick saying, enjoy